Okay, hello everyone, welcome to Concordia University's Fourth Space, and thank you for joining us for today's event, Digital Skillshare Days. This is the first day, the Digital Skillshare's 2025 edition. And just to help situate you, we're streaming to YouTube live from Fourth Space, and we are located here on unceded Indigenous lands in Tiohtià:ke, Montreal. And here at Fourth Space, we work with our university community to help mobilize knowledge, to co-create daily activities that examine research questions, projects, things happening across the university. And you may have noticed we are running today's event as a live stream Zoom meeting. We welcome any comments and questions there, and we'll have some moments to access those during the day. We have a lot of different things happening today. Those of you here in the space also just know that during comments and questions moments, we'll do our best to get a microphone over to you so that everyone can hear. And also just a note, maybe just generally for today, because there's a lot of different things happening, our team back here at Fourth Space, we'll be working with PowerPoints and presentations and things, and so as you have those, bring those to us, and we'll be here to help support that. Okay, enough from me. And now my pleasure to hand it over to the Manager of Digital Capabilities for the library and our introductions today from Jasia Stuart. Jasia, great to have you. There's a microphone at the front there.
There's already a microphone. Thank you so much, Douglas, for that wonderful introduction. I obviously want to extend my gratitude to everyone at the Fourth Space, everyone working here today to make this event happen. Special thanks to the Digital Skillshare Planning Group because of their collaborative efforts, energy, and dedication as promoters, assistants, and promoters. That's why this event gets to happen. An extra super special thanks to Kate Ripley. I don't know if she's in the room, but big round of applause. She's doing so much work behind the scenes, especially on the website. And if you had a problem and it was resolved, that was Kate. So, enfin, merci à tous d'être présents aujourd'hui, virtuellement ou en personne, pour donner le coup d'envol de la 5e édition annuelle des Journées de partage de compétences numériques. J'espère que toutes les personnes présentes sur place en profitant des collations et du café, et ceux et celles qui nous rejoignent à distance sont confortablement installés. Cet événement a été lancé par Paul Fournier en 2020 pour répondre aux besoins émergents en matière de formation à l'heure où nous devons tous adapter au travail à distance. Cette année, de nombreuses séances sont consacrées à l'intelligence artificielle, ce qui montre que notre vision de proposer un événement d'apprentissage entre pairs pour aider la personnel et enseignante à s'adapter à l'évolution technologique est toujours pertinente. Some housekeeping notes to mention. If you're here and you haven't registered, please try to register on the main registration site. It just helps us keep track of attendance for future events. This morning, we're following our classic plenary format with 2 speakers and a keynote. And this afternoon, we're trying something new, lightning rounds. These sessions will feature speakers presenting for 5 minutes and then 5 minutes for questions. It should be really exciting, and there also is a feedback form that will be sent out to all attendees after. We really want to know how you liked the event, especially the new format, but just in general, we can't make it better if you don't tell us how it was for you. Our first speaker, very exciting, is Concordia's University Librarian, Amy Buckland. Some of you might think the library is mostly for students. You're right. But it is also a great resource for all of us to learn new digital skills. Please consult the event website where you registered for this event. There's a tab for the library, and there are some great additional resources that can help you learn everything from new information about AI to data visualization. There's some really nice, easy, quick learning tools on there that highlight the great work the library is doing. Please check that out. Without further delay, I'm going to hand the microphone over to Amy.
Thank you, Jasia. Bonjour à tous et à toutes. I'm really thrilled to kick off this first day of the 5th annual Digital Skillshares Days. So as some of you know already, this is the 2nd year that the Concordia Library is hosting these days after many years of involvement. And as Jasia mentioned, this initiative was developed by the Digital Strategy Group and continues to be organized by an interdepartmental group of really fabulous folks. I really see these days as a way for us to experiment. After all, we're a university. Exploring and experimenting is kind of our jam. La Bibliothèque de Concordia accueille avec grand plaisir cette importante activité collaborative d'apprentissage entre pairs, qui donne aux membres de l'effectif étudiant, du corps professoral et du personnel la possibilité de se familiariser avec une multitude de ressources numériques. That was so many long words all in a row in that sentence. Je l'ai pratiqué comme 4 fois, mais j'aurais dû faire plus. La bibliothèque recèle une mine de ressources mises à la disposition des personnes apprenantes qui souhaitent connaître les principes de base en matière de capacité numérique. Et bien sûr, les membres de l'équipe de la bibliothèque contribuent par leur connaissance et leur expérience au perfectionnement de ces outils numériques. Some of the library's resources include quick things for digital knowledges. These are like little short and sweet introductions to emerging topics and trends. Most recently, we led the development of what we call our Gen AI Quick Start series, a series of short micro-modules for faculty and staff that provide a good foundation on generative AI topics. This work was done with the support of our colleagues at eConcordia, and you're going to hear from Anik de St-Hilaire later, and our friends at McGill. Et les micromodules sont disponibles maintenant en anglais et en français. I'd also like to highlight the library's technology sandbox. This really very fun, they have a knitting machine, everybody, makerspace, brings together different technologies and equipment for the Concordia community to learn about and experiment with. And the key really is experimentation, so I want you to keep that in mind today. The workshops offered in that environment enable people to explore new technologies, everything from printing 3D whatever you got, to exploring virtual and augmented reality. Les journées de partage des compétences numériques ont le même objectif, en donnant aux membres du personnel et du corps professoral de l'université des occasions intéressantes d'échanger des idées, d'explorer de nouveaux outils et de nouvelles plateformes, et d'approfondir leurs compétences numériques dans un contexte communautaire. Je ne doute pas que ces 2 jours seront l'occasion idéale de découvrir des nouveaux outils et ressources numériques et apprendre les uns des autres. Shortly, you're going to hear from our colleague Fenwick McKelvey, who's going to talk about a responsible approach to tech and why this is important for good institutional governance and stewardship of technology. Given current geopolitical events, I think this will resonate with the room. Thank you all for your participation. Merci d'être ici. Back over to you, Jasia.
Wise remarks, as always, Amy. We're very lucky to have you as university librarian, especially as champion for this event and making the digital Skillshare Days. It is a long title. Continue. So next, we're going to hear from Fenwick McKelvey, Associate Professor in Information Communication Technology Policy in the Department of Communication Studies at Concordia. He is the director of the Applied AI Institute and leads machine agencies at Milieu Institute. He studies digital politics and policy. Fenwick is going to speak to us today about Concordia's approach to responsible tech. Over to you, Fenwick.
It's a high-tech technology here. So I don't normally give speeches to get people fired up. So part of the course of being an academic is mostly being critical of everything. It's really annoying when you watch TV with me. So much so that my partner has taken to recommending podcasts that feature critics that I might like about AI, as in, this guy complains about AI like you do, you might like this show. So the opening plenary gives me a sort of conundrum. What do I know that's helpful about artificial intelligence? Something to be excited about, which also in February in Montreal, which is no small feat. So AI, and the truth is that I'm excited about what AI can be at Concordia University. And if there's anything I can really offer today, it's a reminder of how exceptional the opportunity we have here. You know, AI has changed a lot from the forgotten days of expert systems to the multimodal models we have now. And I myself started getting into AI as part of my own very obscure research interest into network engineering. Please ask me about it. What I like to call, and this is the part of the work I've done, is internet demons, which refers to some of the terms that computer scientists used to describe early AI. And there's a long history of this technology. But let me tell you, it was really hard to get people interested in talking about demons before ChatGPT. And that's why we're here today. And it's a difficult place to begin, because OpenAI and large tech firms have been too influential in shaping this moment. Most of my research has found that a few voices have explained how AI is going to shape the future of work, of society, of higher education. And ChatGPT has really drove wild speculation of what the future could look like. Could these large models become foundational, or autonomous, or even intelligent? Or are we just talking about something like a better search engine? I actually personally like Ted Chiang's description of AI as like a broken photocopier. Each of these descriptions of the technologies carry a lot of expectations about the future. And I find myself wondering who else might have a say in shaping AI's future? Who is shaping in other ways to think, imagine, and see AI? And I think that's what we're doing here. In my discussions, I'm always reminded about the thoughtful ways of how we're discussing AI's impacts. And this is something I'm reminded every day in my encounters with faculty, researchers, parts like the whole Concordia community, is so often there's these thoughtful reflections about what the future of AI looks like. And I want to hold and kind of protect that this is something that Concordia is unique in approaching and something that's valuable and important. We're discussing the way how AI impacts our work, our research, our responsibility as an institute of higher learning, and also our place in a very fraught world these days. And so, for example, I'm part of a multi-university project aimed at understanding the use of generative AI in higher education, along with Amy, my colleague Amy. The project, led by Ithaca SR, keeps a generative AI project tracker. And if I have a clear takeaway, it's to bookmark that site. Because if you are curious about what AI tools are out there, we are part of a way of curating what tools might be useful for the type of work you're doing. Now, as part of that project, we've interviewed Concordia staff about their use of technology. Some might be skeptics, but what I found so fascinating was people working out their own relationship to these tools, not as a rush for its adoption, but a professional reflection on teaching and learning that has a strong focus on student well-being and the value of the degree and the services we offer. So my advice, if you want to call it that, is something of an appreciation, a respect for the challenge that we have. We are figuring out what it means to be an institute of higher learning today. The challenge of how to use these tools well is part of what defines us, of finding a different way to integrate these sudden innovations like generative AI. And we are aware that just because AI exists does not mean that we have to change those practices, but how do we integrate them, knowing and recognizing the expertise that we bring, the values, and the judgment that we have in integrating these into our work and practices. That's always been a goal for me at the Applied AI Institute, to develop Concordia's own approach to artificial intelligence. When thinking about AI tools, who's involved in shaping and deciding what tools matters as much as what we end up doing with it. So not only does this approach work for the public good, but our teams involve these really weird collaborations that seem only possible at Concordia. We use the term responsible AI for these collaborations, how we embed social impacts, privacy, and worker autonomy, and how we discuss what projects we develop and how we develop them. And in these moments, which are the right ways of blending these concerns about technology and society. And I think we do this because Concordia has done and continues to do interdisciplinary research well. Describing a team of researchers here can seem like a bad joke, actually, like a computer scientist and a policy wonk walk into a bar. That's many often the descriptions of the grants that I write, seeing these kind of weird collaborations that let us make and accomplish the research in the special way that only Concordia makes possible. The Institute, for example, is led by a computer scientist and myself, but our team is composed of folks with expertise from community organizing to feminist humor to machine learning operations. And that's just my own experiences here at the Institute. And I think these interdisciplinary discussions are important not only for AI, but also for our students who are trying to find a voice in the room in these discussions and valuing what we teach them and making sure they have a place in a world that often considers them obsolete or inefficient because of these innovations in generative AI. And so the ideas of how we approach these questions of interdisciplinary research is part of, I think, what defines the exciting opportunity that is Concordia today. And frankly, I also want to appreciate that Concordia can be a little weird. I mean, sure, it can be a weird place to work, but I want to encourage our sense of being a little unconventional in how we approach AI. We're all told AI is going to boost our productivity, help us schedule those meetings, which let me tell you, I'd love. But there's a strong incentive here to think about how we can use AI differently. Now, I've learned a lot being part of the Machine Agencies group at the Milieu Institute with Bart Simon. The group is full of many, many experiments with many, many kinds of agencies. Last summer, we wanted to try to see how far we could push open source and local models in creation and practice. Now, I want to pause here just in case people want to understand what open source means. If you didn't see the Meta ad during the Super Bowl last week, that's the logic behind DeepSeek or Llama releasing its models for free to use online. And you can use them right now. On my Android phone, there's an app called Llamo, and it runs a private local GPT without sharing any of your data or having to pay a service fee. These are the types of innovations that are happening very quickly, but they're also exciting because if we pay attention to these changes, we can find technology that's not only safer, but less expensive to use. So open source AI is a little funkier than ChatGPT. It takes some more work, but that's also part of the process. And so the Generative AI Studio brought together artists and research creators, students to explore this approach of how to integrate this within their own practice. Rowena, for example, one student used the project to create a custom-trained bilingual English-Farsi image generation model, which focuses on reproducing Ithacan and Safed Iranian art. And these works then were showcased at the Wilding AI Studio at the MUTEC Festival last summer, co-organized by another Concordia student, Maurice Jones, looking to showcase how we are putting these experimental AI practices in practice. And these projects then help me to remember that we're trying to still figure out what this AI is and what it's helpful and not helpful to do, and also not let it become too stale and too predictable. So for me, what is exciting is that we're building AI that is not only about us adapting, but also making sure that we're adapting to it and advancing these tools. And what we're building AI is not just about teaching us, but also our students and how they also look to Concordia for leadership about what these technology means. And so I'm excited about is what we're building a Concordia approach to AI that looks a little different. That means that AI that works, which is no small task, in ways that we've decided to be responsible for people like us, who are not maybe the biggest, richest university in the world, and that's okay. And I hope that's something we can carry with all of us as we learn how AI, how AI works and what's next over these next couple of days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fenwick. That was really interesting. I have to say, in my personal work, I tend to find I'm rushing. I want to get things done. I think of policy often as something that gets in my way and something that is a hindrance. So I think that was a really insightful reminder that it is also a kind of collaborative knowledge and something really important and meaningful that is built by a group and that we can actually use to our advantage here. So thank you very much for those remarks. Here was some more insight to hopefully ground and contextualize this event that centers around digital learning and new skills is Anik de St-Hilaire. Anik has a master's degree in educational technology and over 25 years experience in training, e-learning, and multimedia production. She has worked as a director, project manager, not good at turning pages, and she has led a team of instructional and multimedia designers in both academic and industrial settings. Anik's presentation today is entitled From VHS to AI, Embracing Diverse Digital Profiles in Education, and will touch on how diverse technology adoption styles can be harmonized to create an inclusive, high-impact learning experience. It's a really fascinating topic, so I'm going to hurry up and pass it off to Anik.
I'll take my computer. you know, the paper sometimes it's very nice to have very practical as technology, you know, to have your script. So just let me have a second so I can connect to my note. It won't be long. Okay. So you did an amazing job where you are. Very interesting topic before me. So. So first of all, I want to say a big thank you to Amy Buckland, to the Digital Skillshare team, the Fort Space and the library team for having that event and give me the chance to be with you today. So I'm very excited, very proud, honored to be here, but also I'm very stressed. So bear with me. I'm very francophone also, so bear with me. I'll try to make to be on track and be clear. I might switch with some time in French, so. And I'll use the technology to help me. And some of my colleagues who you'll see will help me also for this presentation. So I'm not very used to be under the spotlight. I prefer to be on the background, you know. I like my team to shine and, you know, encourage them. But they say to me, yeah, you should do it. And I said, okay, for you guys, thank you for being here. Hope you'll be proud of me, so I'll do my best. Okay, next. Okay, my name is Anik de St-Hilaire. I'm the Chief Academic Officer at eConcordia. I have the chance and the privilege to work at eConcordia for the past 10 years. We have an amazing team of instructional designer, multimedia team. So we're creating eConcordia courses. We're very proud of that. I work also, I forgot to change mine here. Okay, sorry about that, my note here. Okay, so I have the chance also to work with Sandra Gabriel, the Vice Provost Innovation in Teaching and Learning. We work together to define the pipeline for the eConcordia courses. We worked recently to put together a quality standard for our online courses at eConcordia to make sure that our students at eConcordia have a great learning experience online. So work with Sandra, but also our team works with different entities at Concordia. We have the chance, we were mentioning earlier, with the library team, we developed the micro module on the use of GenAI for faculty members to help them demystify the use of GenAI in their teaching, but also with their research. So we work also closely with CTL, John Paul Fox, my friend. We love you. It's great to work also with CTL. You know, they help us very much with putting in place, you know, those quality standards for our eConcordia courses. We work also with Dana Gottlieb to create a different module, with the Student Success Center also creating online readiness for students to help them, you know, prepare themselves when they're going on learning online. We work also with different other entities. We develop, maybe you know, the SVAT training, sexual consent training for faculty, staff, and students. So we're involved in the big ecosystem at Concordia, and we are very proud of that. If we can bring our value, you know, a contribution to a different unit, we're happy. Our main focus is the eConcordia courses, but at the same time, we collaborate with a lot of you guys at Concordia. So when I've been asked to do this keynote today, at first I was saying, okay, no way I will do it. You know, I had in mind Paul Fournier last year keynote. It was amazing, so inspiring, you know, having him talking about his use of the GenAI in his day-to-day life, and I was kind of so impressed with your keynote. So I said, no way I can do the keynote this year. You know, I don't want to be after Paul Fournier. The bar is too high. So finally, the team said, yeah, you can do it. So I said, okay, but what can I bring today to you? What can I share with the people here? So for sure, I said to myself, okay, maybe I can share a little bit my own relationship with technology, how it evolved during all those years of experience. So I will share with you a little bit of on dit une tranche de vie, a slice of my life, to help you understand my journey, and we'll relate that to the other individual after. Oops, okay. So it started when I was 10 years old. So I was diagnosed back then with an illness, and I had to go often in the hospital. So I was still going there for quite some period of time, and it was a little bit difficult to manage school and being in the hospital. So I had the chance back then to, for my high school, to be in a private school run by nuns. And they were very dedicated, you know, to help students go through their high school, no matter, you know, what they have as difficulties. So for them, I was a good challenge, because I had the disease, but also j'ai la dyslexia. So you'll maybe realize while I'm talking, so sometimes, you know, it's showing a little bit more, especially when I'm nervous. So I had the dyslexia, I had illness, so being a lot in the hospital. So the nuns were very creative to find some strategy and also use some technology to help me. It was very surprising back in the early 80s. So there were a nun there that was very willing to test different things. So it was, you know, the happening of the first camera video VHS recorder. So they decided to buy that, and she was recording herself, you know, with the camera in her class, you know, doing some math equation. And she was bringing me, you know, those VHS at the hospital, so I can watch on a little monitor with the lecteur intégré. So those demonstrations of her, you know, on the board, you know, to do the math equation. I had some difficulty back then with math. I still do. You can talk to my no, but yeah. So it helped me a lot, you know, to go through my high school and finish without failing and not losing any years. So that was the first time I was exposed, you know, of the use of technology to help, you know, on the academic side. So when I arrived at Cégep, I was saying, hey, look what they were doing when I was in high school. And when the counselor there, the advisor, the conseiller en orientation, saw my medical file and when I was sharing with him what at high school the nuns were doing for me, he said, okay, forget about it. Okay, we're not providing any of that kind of support. And on top of that, forget, you should quit school right away. He told me that. He said, you should quit school. You won't finish your cégep, and don't think about even the university. You won't never make it to the university. I was a little bit discouraged at first, for sure. And I said, you know what? Maybe I'll find my own, you know, tool that I can use and help me go through, finish my cégep. And so, with different strategy that I applied to myself, you know, it helped me go through the cégep, and I made it to the university. And what I find extraordinary right now, it's I'm in front of you talking about the use of technology, you know, to support students in their learning. So you can imagine it influenced me a lot, you know, going through, you know, the university. So when I arrived, I did mon bac en communication, journalisme, I did a lot of television, and I specialized myself doing some educational television. So, alors c'était vraiment les débuts de la formation à distance. We were doing some, yeah, a module with VHS, sending that to our students with manual that they can, you know, consult while watching their VHS tape. So I was very curious back then with all the technology and what we can do, but it was more limited than now. I worked at l'UQAM, au service de l'audiovisuel, developing educational television, video, and all that. And after, I went to Université de Montréal to do my master in educational technology. And there I was hired at the service de l'audiovisuel, again, as a director of a multimedia project. And we had the first grant to develop with the new technology. Back then, it was the first CD-ROM. You know, and I was so amazed with that technology because I remember, you know, we were used to build our courses, you know, the linear, but now with the interactivity, giving the possibility to students to be, you know, accessing different, the video, then some visual, and so it was very exciting. So we developed at Service de l'Audiovisuel à l'Université de Montréal the first CD-ROM pour la faculté de médecine de l'Université de Montréal sur le système neurologique et le système locomoteur. Et puis, that year, we won with the gouvernement du Québec, le ministère de l'Éducation, the best, you know, tool in technology, you know, supporting education. So we were very proud of that. So at those years, you know, we were exploring also some new technology. So I was very excited when also we started to use, you know, the web. I remember at the beginning, you know, with the Netscape, at first when that arrived, we were so excited because the version before, without the interface like that, it was like coding in Linux. It was a little bit scary. But when Netscape arrived and we say, okay, there's a nice interface, you know, we can find and do some research and all that. So I was showing that to my boyfriend back then and saying, hey, look, you know, he was doing his PhD and I was showing him, you know, the possibility, the potential of those new technology. And his reaction first was very kind of, you know, skeptical with that and saying, you know, I don't think that technology will never work. Because he said, it's too, you know, too slow, you know, you don't find a whole good information. I'm not sure about that. So he said, I prefer to go to the library, for sure. Yeah, it's good. But at the same time, I said, you know, un n'empêche pas l'autre. But the flexibility of that, you know, and the potential were, for me, you know, very important. And I remember, you know, using my 2K modem to connect and with the sound, you know, waiting to be able to connect and then do some research. And then it was interesting to see how now it evolved from those beginnings. So, but when I was thinking about his reaction in front of the technology, it's why I started to think about, you know, the different profile that we have, you know, in front of the technology and how we adopt the technology. So, here we have, oh no, c'est vrai, c'est toi qui contrôle. Okay, so the technology adoption life cycle based on Everett Rogers diffusion of innovation, first published in 1962. Outline how a population adopts new ideas or technology in stages. So we can see that we have the innovator, early adopter, early majority, late majority, and laggards. So most of us, you know, are around the early majority and late majority. So I'll describe a little bit more for each of them. So, and I'll read a little bit of my note here. So, the innovator, who they are. They are mostly the people who line up overnight outside the store just to snag the latest gadget on launch day. You can imagine, you can picture it. Why they do it? They thrive on novelty and are more than happy to take the risk. Whether it's testing a new VR headset or jumping into a brand new software with potential glitches, innovators feed off the excitement of being first. Example in action, think of those early adopters who purchased Google Glasses long before most people even knew about that wearable what technology was. Probably, Paul, you're in that, that zone. Okay, now, if we're talking about the early adopters. Early adopter, who they are? Opinion leaders who might not be the very first in line, but they still adopt new ideas earlier than most of people. They're the ones signing up for cutting-edge software beta and often sharing reviews or tutorial online. Why they do it? Early adopters spot potential and see a strategic advantage in adopting ahead of the mainstream, whether it's leveraging AI to boost productivity or trying out a new collaboration tool at work. Example in action, they are the influencer or the colleagues to look for when you're asking yourself, okay, is that new phone, software, or service worth it? So again, maybe you should be I'm sure, Paul, you're a reference again on that. Okay. Then we have the early majority. Who they are? A bit more cautious than early adopter. They typically wait until there's solid evidence that a product or service perform well, and it's worth the cost. Why they do it? They want to see proof, user review, reliable update, and a stable user base before they commit. No one wants to be stuck with a buggy first-generation device or complicated software they can't figure out. Example in action, think of the iPhone fan who hold out until the second or third iteration of the model, making sure that Apple has worked out a majority of bugs first. Then we slipped on the other side, the late majority. Late majority, who they are? The skeptics who show up to the technology party only when everyone else is already raving about it, or when the price drops significantly. Why they do it? They adopt new tech out of necessary or social pressures, like workplace requirement online tool, or friend encouraging them to leave behind the flip phone and finally get a smartphone. Example in action, picture those people who finally decided to subscribe to Netflix or Disney Plus only after the entire social circle have been watching for years. So you can maybe think about your brother-in-law or your parents in some case. So I can tell that my husband is more in that zone. Finally, we have the laggards, or phobics, who they are, those who resist new technology until they absolutely no other option. They tend to be deeply skeptical or simply prefer sticking to what is familiar. Why they do it? Often it's distrust, fear, or feeling overwhelmed by change. They only switch, say, from a local hard drive backup to cloud storage when the old hardware breaks or the service they once relied on shutdowns. Example in action, imagine someone who's been faxing documents for ages and only moved to digital signing tool after the local fax service disappeared entirely. I'm thinking sometime about my mother-in-law. You know, she didn't want, when everyone had the color TV, she wanted to stick to the black and white TV. And after that, you know, with her phone, we were saying, hey, see the advantage to have a phone that you can, you know, have in your, and she wanted to have the version connected with, you know, the round stuff. So, you know, she was very resistant to all kind of technology. So I'm thinking about her, you know, in that zone. So each group, you know, has its way of adopting technology. And if it's okay, you know, we can push no one with the technology. And the only thing that we want to do is to understand that people have those profile. You know, you can be in some technology more the early adopter, and for some other technology, you can be more in the late majority or laggards. You know, for my boyfriend, you know, he's an early adopter when we are talking about remote TV control. So that is, the television is very keen to be the first online, you know, with the new technology. But for the Gen AI, for example, is kind of on the looking at that and say, okay, and I feel that he's very scared about that at the moment. And it's okay. Something that we need to understand that each group behavior can influence a product, a service's success or failure. Understanding where our audience fall in that curve can help customize digital strategy, communication, and effort, and support services. So after all, no two groups are motivated by the same factor, and each stage has its own sweet spot for adopting or even requesting sometime new. So what about our audience at eConcordia and Concordia? So the way they consume technology in general is shifting. They are the digital native. Individuals who grew up in an environment where digital technology, like the internet, social media, and smart devices were common. So they tend to adopt and adapt to new technology quickly and intuitively. They are generally the innovator and the early adopter of technology. I can just think about my kids. They are both at the university, and really, they are really in that zone. They also tend to move away from traditional way of accessing information. So here's some interesting data about our students. So, for example, based on the Net Tendance report created by l'Académie de la Transformation Numérique de l'Université Laval in partnership with the Quebec government, only 44% of Internet users aged 18 to 34 have a television service. Cable or fiber, Bell or Videotron, they don't, only 44% have that. They prefer, in fact, streaming services instead. So, as a parenthèse, you can imagine the impact for a Bell and Videotron. With that shift, they will have to adapt to that new reality. I'm more in the 55 and plus, and I have to say, yeah, for sure, I use the traditional television the way it is, with not fiber even, just cable. And my kid, when they want to watch something, they come to me, and they use the streaming, and I'm a little bit late adopter when compared to them on that area. So if we continue with our student, average time spent daily on social networks. So also based on the Net Tendance report from 2023, our audience, primarily 18 to 24-year-old, are more connected and, no surprise, top of the chart, spending time on social media. So the average for them, it's 4 hours and 17 minutes per day. As a whole Quebec, it's more around 3 hours per day. So that is important to have in mind. Another information about our student in our, so 18 to 24 years old. So 97% have an internet connection compared to 93% for the rest of Quebec. 96% on a smartphone compared to 85% for the rest of the population in Quebec, and 88% have an unlimited internet access. So those data come from 2023. So I'd love to say that our audience is pushing every one of us at eConcordia to stay on the forefront of all technology, even more educational technology. But in fact, we have to say that our team, for sure, and the population, and I think in general at Concordia, we're more in that area. So it's okay, but for sure we have to keep that in mind, to have in mind what they will want, what they're expecting, and where we are. And it's okay. So I'll let some people, because in our team we have different profile, so I'll let some people from our team to tell you a little bit more about themselves. So next one.
Hello everyone, my name is Yamna. I am the Director of Academic Innovation and Technologies at eConcordia. With a PhD in Business Computing, years of university teaching experience, and an expertise in model, AI, and educational technologies. My career has been dedicated to exploring how technology can genuinely transform education and improve learning experiences. What's my approach to adopting new technologies? It is a balanced mix of curiosity and caution. I like to place myself in the early majority group. I'm not someone who jumps at every new gadget or AI-powered platform the moment it launches, but definitely not the one to wait for the 20th version before giving it a try. When I encounter a tool with real potential to enhance teaching and learning, I'm eager to explore it, but always with a plan. Before diving in, I put on my researcher's hat. I always try to analyze best practices, read case studies, and look for feedback from early adopters. My key questions are always, what worked, what didn't, why, and most importantly, what's the true impact on students? By asking this question, I can separate meaningful innovation from fleeting trends or tools that offer more wow factor than real benefits. This approach might seem slow, but it saves from digital disasters. It allows me to make informed decisions about where to invest my time, energy, and resources. My goal is to focus on tools that genuinely elevate student success while keeping human connection at the heart of learning. Thank you. Back to Anik.
Thank you, Yamna. So Yamna is our Director of Academic Innovation and Technology. She's really my go-to person when I want to understand a new technology that I heard of. You know, I go to her. In fact, she's the first one who talked to me about Gen AI and artificial intelligence. I remember before having ChatGPT, you know, we were testing some ideas using, you know, with Watson, you know, the possibility on that. So Yamna is someone that I can rely on to help me understand those technology. She'll do amazing research, you know, to understand those technology, to make sure that what are the limitations, do we have any research telling us about the usage, if there's any problem adopting those technology. So her research approach is very important in our team to make sure that we're not ending up, you know, at trying to integrate a technology that, you know, can have problem. She's also our expert on Moodle and trying, you know, to find some new strategy, you know, using new assessment integrated in Moodle. So I have another person that I want to introduce you in our team. So here's to Giulietta.
Merci, Anik. Hello, everyone. I'm Giulietta, and I lead the Learning Experience Technology team at eConcordia. I think of myself as an early evaluator of technology. My focus is really about making sure that the technology fits the use case and the people who will use it. This analysis work is very important to make sure that we don't adopt a technology just because it's new, fun, or even because it's easy. To do this, I rely on a number of different aspects. The first one is about staying up to date, to know where we are going. I like to rely on experts. What are they talking about? What concerns them? What excites them? Are we moving in the same direction as everyone else? Or are we going in the opposite direction? What are our reasons? The second aspect is about learning on my 15 years of experience working in production teams. Is the solution technically feasible? Does it work well during prototyping but falls apart when it needs to be scaled? What are the costs? Which team will be involved? What will be the impacts on the production team? Last but not least, I think about the end users. In our case, it is about faculty members and students. Will it benefit the learning experience of our students? Does it help the instructor teach and help the students achieve the learning objectives? At the end of the day, we must not forget the students who are here to learn and our instructors who are here to teach. Once these high-level questions have been considered, the discussions become more granular. On a personal level, because of my role, I prefer not to be an early adopter. Keeping a distance with the tech helps me be more natural in my analysis. I like to give myself the time to make up my mind. À toi, Anik.
Merci, Julieta. Merci, Julieta. So really, Julieta is my go-to person. I want to understand, okay, the impact of implementing, new technology. She has a sense of to see the big picture of implementing for our team, the process, the budget, the timeline, and it's important to have someone who has that perspective, that to always, think about the big picture. So I worked with Julieta for the past 18 years, and we explored the possibility with VR a long time ago to get together and see the potential and how can we use it in our courses combined with other technology. But what I really like every time is to make sure that she's sometimes take a step back to say, okay, we'll see the impact and on our employee, the structure on of the course, and maybe on the process, developing our courses. I want to introduce you to another person in our team, Emmy. So, or should I say virtual Emmy?
Hi everyone, my name is Emmy Hewitt. I'm the lead of e-learning technologies at eConcordia. If this video gives you the impression that it's AI generated, it's because it is. So this is just a small example of the kind of innovative technologies that we like to experiment with. So my role at eConcordia wears many, many hats. For example, the instructional designers, the interactive developers, the graphic designers, they use authoring tools such as Articulate Storyline or design tools such as Photoshop, Illustrator, Figma, PowerPoint, Beyond, Premiere Pro. It's my job to make sure that these tools work efficiently and work smoothly in our learning management system, Moodle. So you could call me an early adopter. I like taking risks. It works well with my position because I work often at the beginning of the production, during analysis, and then very deeply during the production phase. So it puts me at the ideal place to be an early adopter. Someone who has time to play with the ideas and come up with creative solutions. So it's nice to meet you. And yeah, back to you, Anik.
It's quite impressive. When you see Emmy and you see that video, it's a little bit, at the same time, a little bit scary. So I love to work with Emmy. She's present herself as, on dit en français, un homme, une femme orchestre. She has many talents, and one is her talent, it's really to jump into the technology and do a prototype. So she's always testing, and often we say, okay, I'm wondering if we can use this and how it will, be integrated in our course. And finally, the day after, end up having a prototype, a sample. She said, oh yeah, last night I tested, and here's what we can do, but I had this problem. So, and she come up with some recommendation of how to integrate that or use it. This video was done with Agen. So what she did a sample of her voice and her video, and then she wrote the script, and it generate that video entirely. So if you receive a video similar to that from Emmy, and she's asking, because she's in the hospital and she's asking for money, don't send it to her. Please don't. Be aware. Call us. So having someone like her, it's great because she complements with the team, and sometimes she makes us open our mind on different new strategy and new tool, and see how we can really have an example of how we can use it in our course or project. I'll introduce you to another person in our team. So Daniel.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel, and I'm one of the IT experts in charge of making sure our digital world runs perfectly behind the scenes. As a parenthesis, my love of technology doesn't translate into a love of being on camera or having my voice recorded. Therefore, I prefer to have a mysterious appearance and AI jump to my help with a generated voice. You might say I'm an innovator at heart, eager to test out new software, pilot emerging platforms, and take informed risks if it means uncovering a better way to serve our learners. I'm naturally drawn to all things cutting edge, and honestly, I get a thrill from rolling out new solutions before they're on anyone else's radar. Since our infrastructure has to support large numbers of users and handle everything from video lectures to interactive quizzes, robustness is a top priority. My team and I constantly evaluate hardware and software to ensure we can scale with student demand, whether that's thousands of simultaneous logins or massive content uploads. On top of performance, data security and privacy are crucial. We keep a close eye on regulations like GDPR, integrating features that help protect personal data. I'm also passionate about exploring AI, both for our internal operations and from a personal perspective. For example, I've been running small test pilots using AI to create immersive learning scenarios where students can interact with simulated environments or role play in real time. It's an exciting new frontier, and while we don't want to jump in blindly, I believe in harnessing this tech for meaningful, well-grounded improvements in the learning experience. So yes, I'm the one behind the scenes, fixing servers, building secure networks, and testing new AI applications. To me, it's all part of being an innovator, staying ahead of the curve so we can keep pushing what's possible in online education. Anik, back to you.
Thank you, Daniel. So lucky you. I would have prefer, to have, that kind of video and have an hologram of myself, today. But so you can see that Daniel is really one of our innovators in the company. It's great to have someone like him, making sure that our infrastructure is solid, that we don't have some malicious, intervention in our platform. So he's very someone who's we can lean on, and he's been with eConcordia since the beginning. For your knowledge, he was one of the first developers who built our own LMS at the very, very beginning of the eConcordia. So just to understand that, we launched at eConcordia the first course with our platform in 2001. And Moodle was launched in 2002. So we're having an advance at that time, but for sure they have more developers now, so we switched to Moodle more recently. But he's one of our genius, geek person, and he's also good with our platform, but also exploring with the new technology, the VR, and integrating some Gen AI in a different project. So I give you a portrait of some of people in our group, but for sure, we don't have only innovator, early adopter, or early majority. We have other people in our company, late majority, maybe some laggards, and it's okay. I think it's good to have in our portfolio or in our group, some people that help us, take a step back and maybe sometime take old technology, pen and paper are very good, to do some, have note on a project. So it's okay to have that variety of people in a group. What I think it's really important is to understand where we are and to respect that and help each other, adopting new technology. Those days, we know that it's going so fast with new technology, especially with the possibility with the Gen AI, and we can see emerging here and there, a lot of different new things, and it can be scary. And I think, having that opportunity here with the Digital Skillshare Day to share together, our knowledge. eConcordia was part of the Digital Skillshare since the beginning. We're happy, to collaborate. For sure, we're used to work with technology, but we are also very glad, to share with the community what we know. So maybe I can conclude with something just here. Come from, on va skipper to celle-là, puis on va mettre la petite, as Maya Angelou put it, when you learn, teach, when you get, give. So it's important, I think, that we work together, to help each other in that period of there's a lot of changes, and so it's normal to be scared. But what it's important, it's to work as a team, to help each other, address, the learning of those new technology. So I want to say a big thank you to the Digital Skillshare team again for inviting me. I want to say a hello, I don't know if she will ever see that, to Diane Smore for our discussion before that keynote, and she was encouraging me to do that presentation. I want to say a big thank you to the team, the video team, and also Julieta, Danielle, Yamna, Amy. And also a big thank you to the other member of the eConcordia team who will be presenting in the coming today or tomorrow. So I wish you a very good conference. Enjoy, and we'll hear if any of those technology you're curious to know more about that. So, oh, by the way, to finish, my partner is the same guy, my boyfriend, after 30 years. He's always, the one, taking a step back while I'm in the front, and we complement each other. So I think we can, learn from that to help each other, and respect, our differences. So thank you and enjoy the conference.
Nick, if you have just a couple more minutes, are you able to take just a few questions? I might have some.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions here, just raise your hand. We'll bring a microphone over to you. Also, for those joining us online, you can type your question into the chat and we can read it out. Any questions here? I see Asfar has a question.
Thanks, Douglas. Hi, thanks for the lovely presentation. I was a bit curious about the use of eConcordia. Like, since COVID, are you seeing more students going for eConcordia and taking more courses, or how's the trend actually? Thank you.
I'm happy to share that every time we add some online courses, the capacity recently, when we did the final numbers of enrollment in the eConcordia courses, the online courses, we were at capacity 98% of full. So every time, and I share with that data with the dean of each faculty, and every time they push, the cap of the courses, students fill out our course. So the demand is there. At first, during the pandemic, we had emergency remote teaching. It was not online learning. It was very kind of helping prof give their course online. But a good pedagogy, and I think we can be proud of the quality of the courses that we have at Concordia. We have old courses that are still on the platform. We're migrating those on the new Moodle with new strategy, and also the quality standard that we put in place. But I'm very, very happy to see that students, after the pandemic, they continue to come to our online courses. So I think it's an asset. I think the demand is there, because also the profile of our student, I was talking about the 18 to 24 years old, but at the same time, we have also older students, continuing education, so they come also, and they love the flexibility of our online courses, so they appreciate to be able to connect on the Sunday morning or late on the Friday night. Yeah, the capacity, we have a big an engouement for our online courses. Yeah, thank you.
And Nick, we have a question online. I can read it out for you. Your background in video seems to have influenced your current role a lot. What are your thoughts on videos in higher education? Do you have any recommendations? And what about AI-generated videos?
Interesting question. Yeah, for sure, I have a sweet spot for video. You know, I think it can be used, you know, a lot, and we can continue to use video. I think there's new way of presenting, you know, some of the content with the video. I saw some example of a new generative AI video, and it's interesting to see the facility that we can have. It can bring, you know, to improve, you know, the production of video. Before it was kind of a very expensive, you know, requesting, you know, a lot of different technology, the camera and all that. And now we can it's more easy, you know, to develop some video. We'll do some tests to see the quality also. I think the human behind is always, you know, a good thing when we use Gen AI for video or for anything else. So, but it will facilitate probably the production of new video material. No, welcome.
Hi, Anik. So I'm just hi.
Yeah, hi.
So I'm just kind of curious. It seems to me that with the whole explosion of AI and so on, it's kind of eclipsed a lot of the stuff that was happening around AR and VR previously in some ways. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of driven me to think about how you can see a technology. I think AR and VR are really interesting technologies for learning, and it's around, you see a technology that's really well suited to education, but because the market's not succeeding, that being able to promote like widespread adoption of that technology, there's increased barriers to that. I'm just kind of curious about your thoughts around that. And
you know, I'm very the type of person who, for sure, I'm getting excited with the new technology, but not put, you know, aside the older one that can be, you know, very useful. When I study in educational technology, you know, the approach is really when you do the analysis at first and you see the learning objective, and you'll find, and not be just, you know, thinking about the new technology, but to see the needs, and if sometimes it's a pen and paper, or sometimes it's just a short video, or just a little animation, or sometimes to say, oh, for that case, you know, the VR will meet the objective, what we're looking for. So I don't want to put aside, you know, some of the technology. I want to make sure that we have all that. And we're looking at all the different possibility and picking the right one for the right context. I think it's important not to put just aside to say, okay, now we're all going with the Gen AI. I don't think we'll just jump to use only that. Just think about all the tools that we have. On a coffre à outils de plus en plus élaboré. We'll pick and choose the best one for the right context. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie.
Woohoo, party!
Wow, Anik, quelle présentation vraiment, vraiment formidable. Grand merci. L'histoire de ta vie, c'est quelque chose, c'est impressionnant et merci de l'avoir partagé avec nous et pour toute l'information après aussi. J'ai beaucoup appris. So thank you everyone for attending this morning's plenary and keynote. We're winding down. We're going to take a break. Feel free to keep enjoying the snacks, and I think there's more coffee. There will be more this afternoon. So we will be breaking until 1 p.m. to go and, you know, have your work-life balance, have your lunch break, and then we will be back again to highlight that we're doing the lightning rounds, which is new for us this afternoon, which are, We've grouped them into some themes. The themes, just so everyone knows, are applied AI, learn every day, tips and tricks, and friendly futures. It's going to be super informative, super punchy, should offer an excellent return on investment for your time. So I really hope to see everyone back at 1 o'clock, and thank you for being here, and enjoy your lunch.
Thanks, Jasia. Just letting you know, people joining us online, we should clap. Let's clap. Those of you joining us online, we're going to keep the Zoom open, but we're going to close the YouTube live stream, which will start again later. Okay.